Are you in that situation where your spouse and you are not on the same page when it comes to debt? I get this question so often. Dani, how do I get my husband or my wife, fill in the blank, whatever one that you have, to come on board? Like, how can I get them to wake up and realize that we need to pay off our debt? How do we get them to make it a priority? Okay, well, first of all, let's break this down and make it real plain. If you are contending against each other concerning the debt, well, it means that money and debt is a higher priority over the marriage. That's what it means. You cannot allow money and debt to be the thing that is an overriding conversation of your marriage. Your marriage is a higher priority than money and debt. So your job is to protect the marriage, not to discredit the marriage by allowing those kinds of contended conversations about money and debt and the fact that you guys are not on the same page. So if you think and are judging your spouse that they need to wake up and realize that they need to come to the table and declare war on debt, I'm sorry, friend, you're the one that is completely out of line. You have allowed something that you do not agree on you've allowed the fact that you don't agree on something to allow you to treat them disrespectfully, to treat them with dishonor. Dishonor and disrespect is never going to result in your spouse saying, hey, yeah, let's go ahead and pay off our debt in the next 5 to 7 years. No, that's not how that's going to work. That's kind of like your kid, right? Who comes to you and says, kind of like Erica, who came to Hans and I and said, hey, can I go camping with my girlfriend this weekend? She came to me and she asked that question. I made a terrible mistake. And I said to her, yeah, sure, that sounds great. So she goes and she gets herself packed. She then a few hours later comes downstairs. She's got her little duffel bag and her backpack all packed up and ready to go. And her father says, where are you going? I'm going camping with so-and-so. He says, oh, no, you're not. You need to go back upstairs. And I right away was like, ugh, right? I was not happy with him that he would say that. Like, what? You don't trust my decision making? Like, don't be a controlling dictator like my dad was. The fact was, is I was completely judging my husband based on my childhood with the man that raised me. And I was assuming that that's how he was being with his daughter. So then I began to dig a little deeper, and it come to find out, man, he checkmated me big time. And he says, Dani, he says, my job and my mandate from heaven is that I'm supposed to be the protector of my daughter. I have no idea if her friend's father sees it the same way. I have no idea if he's going to allow them to go bike riding around the lake. I have no idea if he's actually going to watch over their tent. I have no idea if he might let over some other little boys into their tent. He says, I have no idea what that man's thoughts are being a father and a protector over his daughter. So until I get to know who that man is and whether or not he would protect in that fashion, my daughter's not going anywhere. And right away, I have to tell you that I saw from his perspective and the fact that he was wanting to protect her because my dad didn't. My stepfather who raised me, who I thought was my dad, didn't protect me. In fact, I was violated, verbally abused, physically abused, even sexually abused by this man. So I did not at all see Hans to be the protector. I saw him to be the violator. And in this case, it was the violator of my decision, the violator of her fun. If anyone should have been watching out for her protection, should have been me, because I had been so badly abused. So going back to you and your spouse fighting about getting out of debt, or you judging your spouse, saying, well, they need to come to the table, they need to wake up and realize that they need to declare war on debt. No, you need to realize that disrespect and dishonor is not going to result in the goal being accomplished. So fortunately, my daughter had much better maturity at 12 years old than I did. And what was that? When she got that answer from her father, she went upstairs with honor and respect and said, yes, Dad. She went upstairs. She waited for the conversation to happen. She came back downstairs. And when Hans explained to her the reason for his decision, she looked at him, wrapped her arms around her daddy, and she said, thank you, Dad, for watching out for me and protecting me. What did this show? It showed that she had the maturity to handle going at some point, just not this weekend. What it showed me is I didn't have the maturity. And I needed better understanding of my spouse and what really was going on in that circumstance. So let me ask you this. Have you spent some time? Don't answer yes quickly, because then you're showing yourself to be a fool. Have you spent some time really getting inside and understanding their heart and their mind concerning it? Do you know how they feel about it? Have you asked questions? Not questions so you can manipulate to get the answer you want? Here's what I do know. It's impossible for two to come together and agree on anything if judgment, disrespect, and dishonor is involved. If there is, however, one who is leaning in their ear to gain understanding, to understand the spouse's perspective, and be able to communicate from a non-judgmental, honorable, respectful position, then the two can come together and make some decisions. Not only that, maybe it is that your eyes have been opened about the debt because it's your job to step up and start attacking it. And as you do, there's going to be results. Once there are results, I promise you, now the other will come to the table when they see how simple it is and how committed you actually are to this war on debt.